good afternoon or good evening, whenever and wherever you're watching or listening. This is the Awesemo NHL DFS Strategy Show, and I'm your host, Michael Clifford, aka Slim Cliffy. Joining me for the next hour to talk about whether Mason Marchment is a top 5 or simply just a top 10 player in the entire NHL, our single entry assassin, Mr. Joshua Harris. Josh, how you doing today, buddy?
Probably the best player in the NHL. Probably.
He's close.
I mean,
he's
the guy.
in the conversation.
The last 4 games on DraftKings, I think he's had like 145 DraftKings points. So,
yeah. For anybody that might be wondering what's going on here, Florida 3 had one of the crazier nights of the entire season so far last night.
had to be.
Mason Marchment had 6 points. Anton Lundell had 4, 5, something like that. They just absolutely nuked the slate. And the funny thing is with a third line like that, you didn't even need them to cash. You probably needed them to win, but you certainly didn't need them to cash. And that's the funny thing, is that you see people that didn't have them that actually won some money last night. I saw Henry took down top 3 in the hip check. I saw Millhouse first place in the $12 single entry. I saw Robbie go about 7 or 8X last night, won a bunch of tickets, tagged us on Twitter. So Robbie, Millhouse, and Henry, good job to you guys. I ended up cashing last night as well. Shout out Dylan Larkin. He really, really came through for me, but no, I didn't win any money. Obviously, I didn't have any Florida 3. Were you considering them yesterday? Was that one of the lines that you had? I caught most of the show. I didn't catch all of it. Was that one of the lines that you were looking into?
We did discuss it, and Jake was more about them than I was. Like, I wasn't off them, but like, the thing with Jake is he makes way more lineups than I do. So when I give analysis, unless I state that I'm talking about MME, I'm usually talking about how I run my lineups in 1 to 3, and I wasn't going to get there, I don't think, but they were definitely in play for me if I was making more than one. And funny thing is, like, last night was so weird because the cash line was lower than how many points Florida 3 put up. So like I didn't have any Florida. I had Matthews, who also had a hat trick. I had Halak, and I Josh stacked the Canucks, who did nothing, and I still cashed somehow. It was just one of those weird nights. You take the 38 cents profit because DraftKings min cash is nothing, which is fine. I'm not complaining about it. I'd rather the GPPs be the top prize be pumped, and they pay 15% of the field rather than 25. That's how I am. If you want like 2x min cash, go play cash games, which is fine. I like cash games as well. I play cash. But in GPPs, if you're complaining about the min cash being under 2x, I think, you play to win. You don't play to min cash.
Yeah, exactly. I agree with that. And it was, Edmonton didn't come through last night. I think that was a big thing. A big reason why you didn't really need a lot to cash. I mean, Draisaitl, no points, shot bonus on DraftKings. McDavid had a goal with the shot bonus. That's a decent night. But, Puljujarvi did nothing. Hyman an assist with 4 shots. Like, they didn't really come through. So, Edmonton obviously very popular going into Ottawa last night. So didn't really need Florida 3. To smash. If you did have 4 to 3, you probably had a pretty good night. If you didn't have them, you might have still done well. But yeah, congrats to Robbie, Millhouse, and Henry. Good night last night. Let's see if we can keep it going with this slate here tonight. We are sponsored by Yahoo Fantasy. They have been our sponsor all season long. Contest NHL. Jake was talking about it yesterday on the show. He's been playing Yahoo pretty much every night now. There aren't as many sharks over on Yahoo. Jake might be one of them, but there aren't a whole lot like him. It's a good place to get your feet wet if you just want to get started in DFS. So we have a little giveaway through Yahoo we'll talk about a little later on. If you guys could, in the chat, I see about 75 people there. If you guys could throw us a thumbs up and click that like button, it'll really help us out. And click the subscribe button if you're new here and you haven't yet already. Make sure you click that bell because we have lots of shows going on pretty much every day, even with the NFL winding down. All that's left is the Super Bowl there, but we still have, PGA just started, 3 weeks ago, NHL, NBA, obviously in the middle of their seasons, lots going on. So click the notification bell to get those alerts when we do go on the air. All right, let's get right to these games, Josh, because we have a massive slate today. We have 11 games we have to get through, so let's make sure we get to them. The first one is Seattle with a 2.3 implied goal total. They're going into Boston. The Boston Bruins have a 3.7 implied goal total. The Bruins look to have to not have Eric Holla here tonight. Obviously, he's going to be out. They had been using different centers in that second line role. Looks like it's going to be Tomas Nosek tonight. So second line of Hall, Nosek, and David Pasternak back down on the second line. That means Craig Smith up on the top line. I think there was some chatter in our chat about playing some Seattle here tonight. And I don't know about an 11-game slate, 2.3 total on the road, but you and I talked I think it was the last show we did together on Saturday, about how much better Seattle has been playing over the last month, better defensively and all those things. I'm not sure it's just a slam Boston night. What do you think about this game, Josh?
Yeah. So if all of Boston 1 was together, I think this would have been a slam Boston night, because there's a lot of expensive spots and they may get overlooked just because they have ice time concerns. But I think, Bergeron's been consistently averaging around 18, 19 recently, which is sometimes that doesn't seem like a lot for someone who's 7K, but there are games where he plays 14 because the Bruins are up 38-0. You're just like, old man, take a seat. You know what I mean? But I don't know. Craig Smith there, that line's really, really good defensively, better with Smith there than Pasternak. But offensively, obviously it's a big drop off. Their numbers are still really good, and Seattle has been getting rocked, but like we talked about, they are getting better. The thing is, it's Chris Driedger in net. I like Driedger as a goalie. It's just you've seen Grubauer make improvements. We haven't seen Chris Driedger really get a good run going. I know it's hard because he's the backup, but instead, in 1 to 3, I don't think I'm not gonna prioritize anything on either side. There are better spots that I want in 1 to 3 lineups. If it's Old Boston 1, and I may even consider just playing Old Boston 1, that'd be where I'd consider. I know we've talked about how Boston 2 is okay. This iteration, Hall, Nosek, Pasternak, I think has a fairly decent sample. And it's okay, but the thing is, they're going to get either Donato, Wenberg, Donskoy, or Appleton, Gord, Blackwell, and the samples on those lines are just atrocious offensively. They've been it's been well documented. They've been terrible all season, but it hasn't really improved to the point where I feel like playing the Seattle Kraken on the road on an 11-game slate. You know what I mean? So maybe, on another slate where Donato, Wenberg, Donskoy are under 10K to full stack, but they're at home in a better spot. This just doesn't feel like a good spot for me. Johansson, McCann, Eberle are just going to get locked down by Bergeron, Marchand, Smith. So nothing really prioritized in this game for me, but I'll probably consider, if I was making 20 to 150, definitely Boston 1, some Boston 2, and I will power play stack some Bruins as well.
Yeah, it's that Boston third line. I want to talk about them real quick because I think, maybe you could attack them with a good Seattle 3 line, but that Boston third line has been good this year. DeBrusk, Coyle, Steen, 59% of the shot share, or expected goal share, 52% of the shot share. That's pretty good for a third line. That's what's kind of keeping me away from Seattle here, is that all 3 lines now are tough matchups. I think Nosek is a better defensive center than Eric Holla. I think that's an upgrade defensively on that line. I haven't thought much of Eric Holla. Basically, he's not a second line center, and Nosek isn't either. But I think he can do better on the defensive side of the puck, and that just hurts Seattle even more. So I'm probably going to be out on Seattle here tonight. On the Boston side, it would be some sort of power play stack here, I think, is the way I would approach. The Seattle penalty kill has not been very good for a while now, bottom 10 in the league, nearly 10 goals against per 60 minutes, which isn't great at all. That's basically 1 goal against every 6 minutes, which is basically a power play goal against per game. So assuming you can draw 3 power plays. So I don't really like Seattle's penalty kill here tonight. I like Boston's power play. So if you want to mix in just, Pasternak with the top line, or just Bergeron, Marchand by themselves without Pasternak, and then Adam McAvoy, what have you, that's where I'm going with Boston. I don't know if I'm going to be playing them here tonight because it's only the goaltending that really draws me here. Like I said, I think Seattle's been playing a little bit better defensively over the last month. And when you have so many great spots, I'm probably only 3-maxing here tonight. You have to cut down. And I think Boston is going to be one of my cuts. If I was 20-maxing tonight, it would be a different story. It's just the way that I'm playing my lineups here. On the blue line, Grislock back, not back, but he's running one of the power play units that gives him some a little bit of fantasy juice. What do you think about the defenseman here?
There just really isn't much outside of correlating McAvoy. Like on the Seattle side, Giordano hasn't really done much. Vinny Dunn hasn't, like Adam Larson, if you want some block shots, maybe, but outside of him and correlating McAvoy and possibly punting Carlo, who's up to 3,200 now, I'm going to look elsewhere for defensemen. Just big slate. Don't have to force anything in if you're stacking either one of these teams.
Yeah, I agree. Larson was the only guy that I had down in my notes as a shot blocking type threat. So yeah, I agree with that. And we can just move along to the next game. San Jose, 2.1 implied goal total. They're going into Tampa Bay. The Bolts have a 3.5 implied goal total. Now, I'm going to say something that's, I don't know, maybe it's just conjecture, but over on pinnacle.com, which is where I place some sports bets, they pulled this game off. Now, I haven't checked lately to see if they put it back on the slate, but they pulled the game off a couple hours ago. And when they pull a game off, usually that tells me there's something going on with COVID testing. I haven't seen anything official. That's the problem here, is I haven't seen anything. I've been searching Twitter. I haven't seen anything for updates in that Tampa San Jose game. But the fact that they pulled it off the board, and I'm going to go check right now.
I don't know how big of a line movement this would make, but the Sharks announced that Ferraro and Middleton are going to play tonight.
Yeah, so maybe that's what it was too.
But
that they just didn't want to get slammed. People going heavy on San Jose, that could have been it as well. So I'd say just obviously with those guys returning to the lineup as well, just watch warm-ups. Could be some funny stuff in San Jose, Tampa Bay. What do you have in this? Oh, should mention, still no Nikita Kucherov. Been a week on the COVID list now, but still not ready to return.
Yeah, he practiced today, but is not playing. So probably Thursday, or no, after the All-Star break, I would imagine he'll be back. But first thing you notice about this game on DraftKings anyway is Vasilevsky is 7,400 at home in a 3.5 total against a team with a 2.1 total. So I would imagine he's going to be very popular tonight. I do have some shot volume concerns there, but that's for later on. I really like Tampa 1 here. Palat, Point, Cirelli. We've talked about it. Like, obviously that line's way better with Kucherov, and Cirelli's more of an offensive role here than defensive, but this is still a good matchup. Hurdle Meyer have really good numbers together, but Barabanov is whatever. And the Sharks guys being back, like, not a huge DFS impact, but Ferraro and Middleton are probably two of their better defensive defensemen, which is saying, not a lot, but, you see this Tampa with a 3.5 total, their top line is coming in around 6-7%. I think, this is a really good spot for them. You want to leave off Cirelli, adding Killorn for some power play. I think that's fine as well. I don't think I'd full stack that second line. You want to do like Stamkos, Killorn, I think that's fine. But, the Couture, Dahlin, Balcers line has been pretty good. I think I'd rather go to San Jose too as a filler rather than stacking Steven Stamkos in center with Matthias Joseph. So for me, it's going to be, Tampa 1, Tampa power play, and maybe a little bit of San Jose too. But 2.1 total on the road, nothing I'm really going to prioritize 1 to 3 from the San Jose side.
Yeah, I am tempted with some San Jose 1 here, and it's just because of our top stacks ownership. Our top stacks has Meyer and Hurdle coming in at 1% ownership tonight. And I get it is a very tough matchup. I understand that. But they're a pretty good line and have been pretty good all season long. So they're at least going to be in consideration for me in my 3-max. I'm not saying I'm definitely playing San Jose or 1 or anything like that, but they are coming in with good leverage. And I think it's one of those spots where, if I was 20 maxing, definitely 150. they would be in a higher consideration for me. So I think in my 3 max, I'm going to be out on San Jose, but I do like that number 1. Just the ownership on them, I think, is nice tonight for people playing a lot of lineups, let's say. It is definitely a Tampa Bay game for us here. If you're looking at the ownership, they're basically coming in check. The top line coming in 5%, 7% owned against a 5% top 2 stack. I think that's just fine. One of the things that's key here is the return of Ferraro and Middleton. Those are fairly key defensive roles for those guys. Like, they basically run 4 defensemen, and 2 of them are Ferraro and Middleton. Carlson's out. That's a big loss. They couldn't afford to be out all 3 of those guys. So I think that helps San Jose. But there's not enough ownership on Tampa 1 to make me avoid them. So it's Tampa 1, maybe some San Jose 1 here. On the blue line, I wrote up Mikhail Sergachev in the Power Plays article. He's just getting too much ice time. Like, he's playing like 26 minutes a night. He's not a massive peripherals guy. But 26 minutes a night at home, I'll definitely take a stab at that at 4K on DraftKings. Anybody else stick out to you?
Same. Would take a stab on Ryan McDonough if you can't get up to Sergachev as well. On the Sharks side, like, Burns 5,400 seems so cheap, but like, I don't know. I just can't get behind one offing Burns. I mean, if you have 55 left over, it's fine. I think he correlate with San Jose 1 and MME. You want to punt Middleton for 2,900, I guess that's okay, but I'd rather stick to McDonough and Sergachev out of this game.
Yeah, I can agree with that. All right, let's get to this next one. Replay from last night. Toronto, 3.9 implied goal total going into New Jersey. Devils have a 2.6 total. Back-to-back for both teams. Obviously, the Leafs had a big comeback, scored 4 goals in the third period, 5 goals, something like that, including a shout out to Austin Matthews getting the goal with 28 seconds left or whatever to win me the puck line. I really appreciate that. Gillies is probably going to be a net for New Jersey. I don't know what Toronto's going to do because Jack Campbell looked like a fish out of water last night before he got pulled.
Oh, man, that's terrible.
Yeah. I mean, Campbell only played 1 period, so technically I guess he's rested for tonight. Maybe they go right back to him, but we'll see what happens there. I think there's something to like on both sides of this game. Obviously, Toronto with their big 3.9 total. What do you like, Josh?
Yeah, so now that New Jersey's home, they're going to keep Hughes, Baratzer, and Govich away from Matthews, which is good for the Devils offensively. But that means Zacha, Hischier, and Vesey are going to go up against Matthews, which is bad defensively for the Devils. And, it's not like Blackwood's in net. He's not back. It's probably going to be John Gillies, another AHL goalie. I really like going back to Toronto 1 here. Mitch Marner, still 5,700. Like, that price is where he should be. Like, when he gets in the mid 7s, it just, I don't know. I will say, I was hard on Marner for good reason earlier on in the season, but since they moved him on the power play to where he should be, his season has really turned around. So at that price, I really like Toronto 1 here. They should have no issues with the Hischier Zacha line. You want to go to Toronto 2, that's fine. But for me, this is a Leafs 1 or Leafs power play because the Devils take a lot of penalties. Their penalty kill's pretty good, but again, it's Gillies. And now that Hughes, Bradshaw, and Govich, you're not going to see Matthews. They may see Tavares. They may see Kampf. Whatever it is, they still have over 4 expected goals. Like Jake said, he may be an expected goals fish, and maybe I am too, but those numbers are hard to deny, especially not getting the Matthews line coming in around 5%. They are on a back-to-back in a 2.6 total at home. So, I wouldn't recommend going crazy, but to get those numbers, to get that line with those numbers at that ownership, I think, in 20 max, having them even 10%, you're going to get over the field. And I think, anytime you can get a line with 4 expected goals and an extended sample at that low, I think you got to take a chance. So Toronto 1, Toronto power play, some NJ 1.
Yeah, it's Toronto 1 for me out of this game. On the Toronto side of things, I agree with you there, but I don't know if I'm going to be going back to the Leafs. Like Zach Hischier, they've been good defensively this year. I don't think much of Jimmy Vesey. I think he can probably hurt that line, and that's the problem here. But Zach and Hischier have generally been good this year. I'm not going to, I'm not going to say they're going to shut down Austin Matthews here tonight, but I'm saying, it's not a slam dunk matchup for them. I think it's the goaltending that could hurt them more than anything. I'm with you on Hughes. It's a bit of a tougher matchup with Nylander on that second line than Marner there, but the Hughes line has just been even if they're not great defensively, they're still scoring like 3.3 goals per 60 minutes at 5-on-5 this year, and that's just really good. Ownership, like you said, ownership coming in check at 5%. So Toronto won, but I like New Jersey one, and I really think you're going to see some New Jersey one in my 3 max here tonight. So I like New Jersey one almost regardless of contest size. On the blue line, Severson and Graves stick out for me on the New Jersey side. Severson for the power play, Graves for the peripherals. Anybody else?
I don't think I want to play like Rasmus Sandin or Hull, but like they just aren't doing anything. Like Riley and Brody are just getting insane minutes, and everyone else just like, we'll give them a breather, and their minutes just aren't there. So it's Severson and Graves for me.
Yeah, Justin Hull had a nice pinch last night, and it's I thought he was going to score there. Kind of rattled around in between Akira Schmid's legs, but no such luck for me, I guess. Get access to all the great Awesemo Plus tools and content for nearly every DFS sport out there with an Awesemo Plus weekly pass for $29.95. This includes full access to all the premium content and tools on Awesemo.com, including player projections, ownership projections, our top stacks, our lineup builder, and a whole lot more. Of course, if you're only looking to play NHL DFS, then you can sign up for one of our Awesemo Plus NHL packages for as low as $3.95 a week. Please note that Fantasy Cruncher is an add-on and can be easily added on with any of these packages at checkout, but it is not included in our base packages, and it is certainly a very valuable addition to your DFS arsenal. Stop guessing, start winning. Join Awesemo Plus today. All right, Florida, 3.5 implied goal total. They're going into New York to face the Rangers. The Rangers have a 3.0 implied goal total. Back-to-back for the Florida Panthers. That means Spencer Knight certainly in net for them. Looks like Alexis Lafreniere back down on the third line for the Rangers with Barclay Goodrow up on the top line. Did I see that right?
Yeah.
Adam Fox is on the IR for the Rangers. That means Jacob Trouba is running the top power play unit. I'm going to be honest, man. I think the Rangers might run into the same problems that Caps ran into there a couple weeks ago when John Carlson was hurt. And that is there aren't a lot of guys on that blue line besides Fox that can move the puck. What do you think about this game?
Hopefully Keandre Miller steps up, and he looks like he may, but I'm not going to hold my breath because I can't hold it for very long. So there are a couple things from this game, right? If Gallant's moving Barclay Goodrow up to the top line, that means he wants to get Zibanejad and Kreider out against top comp. Why? So they're going to get Barkov, Huberdeau, Duclair, and that I see 8%, 9% ownership on Rangers one today, and I just don't want anything to do with that. I know Florida's back-to-back on the road, but Barkov, Huberdeau, Duclair, an elite line. There's almost no ownership right now in Florida one. Kind of makes if I was MMEing, even 20 max, I'd get way over the field, and you don't have to go 20%. You get 10, 12%, you're way over the field on Florida one. They're in a really good matchup. No Fox, the only thing in their way right now is Igor, and it's probably going to be Igor because they don't have a game tomorrow. So Jake and I talked about goalie skill yesterday, and we both agreed that it doesn't really matter outside of the elite of the elite, the top three. What's going to happen. It's rare that Igor is going to give up 6 goals in the first and get pulled. It happens, but it's not the most likely outcome. It's not probable to happen. So I don't think I would, maybe I will, but 3.5 total on the road, back to back on the road. It's just I don't know if I'm going to get to Florida in my 1 to 3, and MME I definitely have some. And then we have that Florida 3 question, right? Them going absolutely nuts, and they're going to get Rangers 3, Lafreniere, Hedel. Just they generate a ton offensively, but they give up way more defensively. So there's a case to be made where you can go back to Florida 3 here. They're going to miss the top pair of the Rangers too. They may see Libor and Zach Jones, which is just like gives me a headache just thinking about. But like, it's the Igor question again. But in MME, I definitely mix in Florida 1, Florida 3. On the Rangers side, I'm out on Rangers 1. It's just not a good matchup, and they're going to be over-owned. If you want to include Kreider in a power play stack, I think that's fine. Where I go here is Rangers 2. Panarin's too cheap. He hasn't been great 5-on-5, but he is 5,800, and he's always involved on the power play. So I think if you're going to do anything, it'll be Rangers 2, maybe a Rangers power play stack, but I wouldn't do that in 1 to 3. This is just MME stuff.
Yeah, it's the Florida top line that I like on the Florida side here. Like, it's a smallish sample, but Goodrow hasn't really been great on that top line. Like, they've tried him there at times before this year.
No one's been good there. Buchnevich would have been good there.
Oh, he would have been great. He's also great on the St. Louis second line. Barclay Goodrow on the top line, 42% shot share, 42% of the scoring chances. I think Florida's top line could really do some damage against that. Of course, you're facing Igor, but that's also and it's a back-to-back, but that's also why they're coming in at 1 to 2%, right? Everybody else knows all those things. I think Florida 1, like you said, in your 20 maxes, 150s, all that stuff, even your 3 maxes, I think they definitely warrant some consideration. On the Rangers side, it's the Rangers second line that I like here. I think Verhaeghe and Bennett can be good defensively, but I'm not sure Owen Tippett is. Like, they're trying to trade him. So, like, I don't think
he's in the top 6.
Exactly. Like, they don't want him there. So, I think Panarin's price has come down enough where you can use him as a one-off in tournaments. Stack him with Ryan Strome and Trouba for a power play stack if you want. But Rangers 2, perhaps, definitely Florida 1 for me out of this game. On the blue line, like, Jacob Trouba makes a ton of sense running power play 1 plus all his peripherals. On the Florida side, Forsling down at 3K seems to make some sense to me. Weegar 5K. Anybody else?
Yeah. Keandre Miller on that top pair now, seeing the minutes. It's getting a little bit more involved. I think I will take a stab on him at 2,800 and hope to get ahead of the curve there if he does have a big game before he gets priced up into the mid 3s.
Yeah. All right. Let's move on to the next game. Winnipeg, 3.3 implied goal total. They're going into Philly. The Flyers have a 2.6 implied goal total. There's one specific line I talked to you about before the show that I liked. I'm sticking with that line as it is. There hasn't been a lot of news in this game. I think, Morgan Frost, they said he's not feeling well, may not play tonight or something like that, but we're not playing Flyers 3 or anything like that anyway, so it's not a big deal for us. There is one line that I really like in this game. What do you like out of this game, Josh?
Yeah, we're on the same page, at least on the Jet side. We didn't really talk about the Flyers, and Mike's not on, so we don't have to slander them. So Tyler behind the glass moving the sticks today. But Winnipeg too. Kyle Connor's priced up at 8,500, but like, if you look at his season, he's probably priced where he should be on DraftKings. Like, he's having a ridiculous season, and no one's really talking about it. Not that makes me angry. I see those posts on Twitter. Oh, no one's talking about it. Like, okay, go eat a Snickers. But like, Connor Dubois has been excellent this season. We have the PowerPoint presentation on Cole Perfetti, which you guys have seen over and over and over again. But like, so he's still 3,200, or he's 3,300. That Dubois up to 6,600 and Connor's 8,500, but the Perfetti price makes that reasonable. They're going to avoid Giroux. That's the second line for the Flyers has been decent, but like, decent isn't going to stop that line. If you want to go to Scheifele, Wheeler, Cop, like, go ahead. I just prefer, Connor Dubois, Perfetti. I'm not a believer in the Scheifele-Wheeler combo anymore, just because they're so bad defensively. Like, I'd rather go to the good offensive line, which makes me kind of go to the Giroux, Atkinson, Lindblom line a little bit. You see their ownership under 2%. They're not fully correlated. Lindblom's on the second power play, but he's only 3,400, which makes that line reasonable cost. It's a 2.6 total at home, but, if they're going to get that Scheifele-Wheeler matchup, I would definitely want a piece of Flyers 1 in MME. Winnipeg 2 definitely considered in 1-3. I might even consider Flyers 1 in 1-3. I just, haven't gone through all the games completely with my builds yet. So, but I am interested in the Flyers top line, definitely in MME, and Winnipeg 2.
Yeah, Winnipeg 2 for me is the line that stood out. 60% shot share, 62% of the scoring chances. They're controlling 60% of the shot share. Their expected goals bordering at 2.8. The problem is they're shooting about 6% so far as a trio. That's probably not going to persist for very much longer. I don't see that line as a 6% line. That's more like a Washington 4 mark, like 6. Like that's where 6%.
What did Nick Dowd ever do to you?
Yeah, Nick Dowd catching strays in here. Sorry about that, Nick. And it's the ownership for Winnipeg too as well. We talked a minute ago about 1% ownership. It's not quite that, but we have them at 3%, despite a 6 to 7% top two stack percentage. So one of the better leverage spots on the night. And it's not like Philly's been good. Like, yeah, maybe they've been a little bit better, but they're still not good by any stretch of the imagination.
They won a game in January.
Yeah,
that was their only win in January.
And like the penalty kill hasn't been solid either. So Winnipeg 2 for me, people want to play Winnipeg 1. That leads them there, go right ahead. But it's Winnipeg 2 that's drawing my eye. On the blue line, I noticed Ivan Provorov is playing a ton of minutes, but 6,500, I feel like that's way, way, way too steep for him. Nate Schmidt, 4,200, kind of tickling my fancy. Anybody else stick out to you?
Yeah, Nate Schmidt. Like Provorov, maybe. Is he cheaper? Let me see. And we're off. Provorov, 5K on FanDuel, so that's more palpable.
Yeah.
DraftKings. Yeah, DraftKings 6,500. I'd much rather just play Trouba. But Schmidt, definitely for Winnipeg. Don't mind punting Braun or Sanheim, but really this is just Nate Schmidt, or we'll move it on.
All right, let's move it on then. We have partnered with Yahoo Fantasy this NHL season to bring you some great offers. Check out our exclusive limited time offer, which gets you 1 free month of Awesemo Plus Platinum. To qualify, you need to be new to Yahoo. Sign up for an account via the link below, deposit and play. That's it. Yahoo will send us your name after you've played in your first paid contest, and we will reach out via email with your coupon. If you'd like to speed up the process of getting access, email support@awesemo.com and we'll get you set up right away. You can also claim a free $10 of site credit by clicking the link in the video description below, and that can be used to enter any Yahoo contest, including tonight's $2,000 NHL Baller and the NBA $50,000 Tuesday Baller as well. Make sure to use our DFS tools and projections designed specifically for Yahoo to give yourself the best shot at winning big. All right, we got 6 more games to get through. Let's run through these. Washington, 2.7 implied goal total. Going into Pittsburgh, Penguins have a 3.3 implied goal total. Still no Oshie or Mantha. I saw Tristan Jarry expected to start for Pittsburgh. Vitek Vanacek for Washington. Doesn't look like the Washington top 6 has changed at all. What do you like in this game?
I mean, this is a tough matchup against 2 good teams with 2 mediocre goalies. So I think, you have to have some MME exposure here. This is like those NBC on sports or on night games where you see just like 3-2 gritty, tough games. You know what I mean? But like, there isn't much ownership on this game. So I think, getting to some pit 1, they're expensive, but they're garnering almost no ownership. I think an MME or even 1-3 makes some sense here. Capitals 1 coming in around 3%. That's perfectly fine. They're only 17.9 with an $8,900 Ovechkin, fully correlated against Yari, who I'm not a big believer in. Pittsburgh's a good team, obviously. So this is like, these are 2 good teams. That's why you see the ownership percentage is low. But I think, Caps 1, both top lines definitely in consideration in MME. Maybe get to, pit 1 in 1-3. These second lines, I think I'd lean towards Caps 2 a little bit here. They have decent numbers. You want to use Malkin as a one-off, something like that, I think that's fine. But, nothing that I'm going to really prioritize. I just want some exposure to these top lines in MME because these goalies just aren't great.
And the one thing that stuck out to me about Pittsburgh is their penalty kill has kind of fallen off as the season's gone on. And that's not really normal Pittsburgh stuff. Like, they're really being saved by their goaltending right now. If you look bottom 10 by shot share or by shots allowed, on the penalty kill between Seattle and Buffalo, like, that's not great. They're not taking a ton of penalties, so that's kind of saving them. But that's one thing to worry about with Washington. We talk about it all the time. Not all the time, but we talked about it a couple times how the Washington power play should be a bit better with Backstrom there. It hasn't been really that great on the season, but honestly, it is the second lines that's drawing me in this game. Sheary and Backstrom, 59% shot share together. They've generally had good numbers together in their careers. Malkin and Erod, small sample, only a few games, but they've been very good too. So I think both top lines are in play here for me. But the thing with the Pittsburgh top line is there's not any ownership coming in on them.
Yeah.
Like, I have to figure there's maybe something that we're missing here, because they're coming in at under 1% ownership. And I get that they're expensive. But if you're going to give me under 1% ownership, Pittsburgh won, they should be in your 20 maxes. They should be in your 150s, et cetera, et cetera. They should definitely have consideration in your 1 to 3s as well. I'm not sure I'm going to get there personally, but it's just that ownership alone should really be drawing people here. So Pittsburgh 1 should give a lot of pause. On the blue line, there isn't really anybody that sticks out to me on either side outside of correlating. It's, Brian Dumoulin is a game time decision. So if he's out, maybe somebody like Mike Matheson or something might jump up to get some more minutes. That might change the equation. But honestly, I don't see a defenseman here I like.
Yeah. If you're not correlating with Carlson or Letang, it's just no thanks. Unless, like you said, Matheson or Marino or Pedersen, one of those guys moves up, then yeah, maybe.
All right. Next game, Ottawa, 2.2 implied goal total going into the island, face the Islanders. They're not on the island anymore, though.
Yeah, they are.
Are they?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, they're not playing in Brooklyn. My mistake.
They're not as far down the island, but it's still trash down there.
Hey, you said that. I didn't say that. So that's JRH. You can find this.
JRH002. I live in the armpit. I live in New Jersey, so I can't really talk crap about the island, but here I am doing it.
All right. The Islanders have a 3.4 implied goal total. It does look like the Islanders are going to carry some ownership here tonight. The top line coming in around 10%, coming in as our most over-leveraged line on the slate. I mean, we always say you can play the chalk, but coming in at 3 times your top 2 percentage seems a bit high, and it seems entirely price driven. What do you think about this game, Josh?
Yeah, like the first thing I noticed on the slate was the Islanders total, and I had to take Advil, because I know they're going to get ownership, I know they're going to be cheap, and I know they're going to be in a good matchup. It's just like I can't trust them to do anything. Lee hasn't been great this season. Barzell's been okay, but their prices are good, and they're going to get the bottom 6 matchups of the Sens or on a back-to-back on the road. So, there is a case to be made to play them. It's just this isn't the Islanders team from 3 years ago. This is a bad iteration of that team. I don't know. If I was going to go to a line here, it's going to be that second line, and they just don't have great numbers either. Nelson, Beauvillier is fine. They're cheaper with less ownership than Barzal and Lee. You want to go down to that third line, JG Pageau, Wallstrom. 6,400 for the two of them on the top power play unit. Going to get Stützle, Kachuk, Ennis, but that might actually be good for them. They may actually see a couple more minutes on the ice. They're both power play 1. They're coming in over 5%, which is over leverage, but for 64, I'd rather do that for 6,400 than spend, $10K for Barzal and Lee in a similar over leverage situation. You know what I mean? I'd rather just pay less. So yeah, I guess Islanders 3, you want to play Islanders 2, you want to play Islanders 1, I'm not going to tell you no, but it's their total, their ownership just makes me uncomfortable despite the matchup. So
yeah. Oh, sorry.
No, go ahead.
No, all I was going to say is that like I really do like the Islanders here as well, but I think honestly, in a tournament, I think it makes more sense to play the Ottawa goalie than it does to play the Islanders here. At least, those super chalky lines. Like Islanders too, they're coming in fine. But like you said, they haven't been really playing well this year. So it's like, do you want to play the less owned line that's not been playing well, or the higher owned line that has been playing well, which would be Islanders one? That's kind of the decision here. I'll just say I wrote up Oliver Wahlstrom in the Power Plays article. He's leading the league in shot rate on the power play this year, which I found absolutely staggering. When you consider all the elite power play guys around the league, he's the guy with the highest shot rate. Now, it seems like he is shooting from everywhere. Like his scoring chance rate isn't nearly as high. But, getting a lot of shots against this Ottawa penalty kill that does like to take penalties. I agree with you. It's Islanders 3. I also think the Ottawa top line makes some sense here tonight if you're playing a bunch of lineups. I'm not getting them in 1 to 3s. 20 max, I'd start to consider them. 150, absolutely coming in with good leverage.
Well, the Islanders just have not been good defensively. Like it's in the numbers. Ball don't lie.
Yeah. I just think, Ottawa's missing some players. It's back-to-back on the road. I'm pretty sure it's their last game before they head off for the All-Star break. Like, I could see them just kind of punting this one. But Islanders 3, it's Wahlstrom that I like. On the blue line, assuming Lassie Thompson is out for this game, and it does look like he's out, Eric Brandstrom could jump to the top pair. 2,500. He's been playing a lot of minutes lately. Don't mind Brandstrom if you need somebody super cheap. Anybody else?
So, yeah, I like Brandstrom. Ryan Pulock, they said he's a game time decision, but that probably means he's probably going to play. He's been out for a while. His price is down to 4,100. Maybe you want to wait a game. Dobson at 5,500, I think makes some sense as well. This is a really good spot for them, but I don't know. Nothing like jumping off the page saying I need to play you tonight.
Yeah, I agree. That's the case with most Islanders games. All right, let's get to this next one. Vancouver 2.3 going into Nashville. Nashville has a 3.1 implied goal total. John Hines said Eli Tolvanen and Dante Fabro look like they're both going to be back for Nashville tonight. Vancouver is on a back-to-back. You and I talk about how the Nashville penalty kill is bad, but the Vancouver penalty kill is similarly bad. This is a battle of two bad penalty kills, and that worries me because anytime that happens, you can just very quickly see a quick blowout, 2 or 3 power play goals, 2 or 3 shorthanded, all of a sudden it's 5 or 6-0. What do you think about this game?
Yeah, I like Nashville 1, surprise, surprise. But I like them more now because their prices come down because they haven't been great recently. Like, they just haven't. Granlund is down to 4,300, Duchesne down to 5,400, Philip Forsberg down to 6,200. But, like, this could be what they need to get right here. And they're 15.9 on DraftKings, which is a very reasonable price. They're in the 18Ks about 3 weeks ago. They're going to get whoever they get on the Nashville side. Or on the Vancouver side. I don't even know what teams consider the Vancouver top comp anymore. It's just hard to tell. Maybe it's probably going to be Miller, Besser, Pettersson, I would imagine, but not that matters. Vancouver's penalty kill is bad. Thatcher Demko's there, which is, he's better than Halak, but like Halak's good too. So how much can Demko save you? You know what I mean? Like, he's in that conversation where, like, yeah, I'm not a huge fan of stacking against him, but like, I'm still going to do it. So Nashville 1 for me. If Tolvanen slides into that second line with Johansson and Kunin, don't mind them as a 2-man. You want to include Johansson for some power play 1. He's only 3,300. There are definitely worse times to use Ryan Johansson. I don't know if there's any better times to use Ryan Johansson, but there's definitely worse times to use him. So, don't mind that as a filler. But Nashville 1 for me. In 1 to 3, I'm probably not to get to any Vancouver, but like, Nashville legitimately has a bottom 3 penalty kill in the league. They just been bailed out consistently by UC Saros.
935 save percentage on the penalty kill.
That's like month. Insane. Like, insane.
Yeah.
Like, that shouldn't be sustainable, but we're still here.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I might consider some Pettersson, Miller, Besser in MME just because the Nashville takes a lot of penalties, and at their price, like, if they get 1 full line goal and they get a couple bonuses, they should be fine. So Nashville 1.
No, sorry. No, you're saying Nashville won
and Vancouver won for me.
Yeah, that's about where I am. It's just power play guys. You need power play guys in this game with those penalty kills, both lots of time shorthanded, both with bad penalty kills. One team being saved by their goalie. Your Yossi's, your Forsbergs, your Bessers, your Millers. Those are the guys that you want to roster here tonight. On the blue line, nobody really sticking out to me. Obviously Roman Yossi sticks out to me just about every single game he plays. But with Fabro back, that might depress the TOI or peripherals of some of the guys on the rest of that blue line. So it might just be Yossi for me. What about you?
Yeah, Yossi for me. I actually don't mind correlating Quinn Hughes. Like normally he's just like, his peripherals have come up a bit and he's cheaper than he was. He's 4,700, so don't mind that. But definitely just Yossi or Hughes for me.
All right. We have an Awesemo Hall of Fame here at Awesemo.com where we like to celebrate our winners. And if you want to get into the Awesemo Hall of Fame, this is how you do. You download the Awesemo avatar from awesemo.com/avatar. You place in the top 3 of a contest with at least 5,000 contestants. And then you tweet those wins to the Awesemo Hoff account. You'll see scrolling through some of the slides. You'll see a second place split in the 5K hit check from Great Kid. Great stuff by him. You'll see LS Dom taking down third place for $300 in the mini max over in NBA. Not a bad job. Finishing third in any sort of mini max like that is really, really tough. See a fourth place from Shai Lansky over in NBA with taking down 750. Of course, Soul Cube there a few days ago took down first place single entry in NHL over on FanDuel. And then Robbie from last night said Jake Harry called it. We need to bring a special guest on the show named Saul G. But I mentioned earlier, Robbie had a great night there. You see $400 off 35 an entry. So if you want to get into the Awesemo Hall of Fame, just place top 3 in the contest with at least 5,000 contestants and then send those screenshots in to the Awesemo Hoff account. All right, we got 3 games to get through. Let's plow through these games. Calgary going into Dallas. Calgary has a 3.0 implied goal total. Dallas has a 2.7 implied goal total. Now, Dallas, in their last game, they sent out the top line against the opposing top line, which was Boston's Bergeron line at the time. If they do that again here tonight, they're going to be going out against Calgary's top line. Both these top lines coming in with pretty good leverage, both amongst their top 5 under leverage stacks. What do you think about this game, Josh?
Yeah, so if they're going to go against each other, it kind of takes them out for me in 1 to 3. There's plenty of other spots that I like just enough to get them in my 1 to 3. But in MME, at this ownership, they're both fully correlated. They're both very, very good lines. I think even if you're making like 5 to 10, you can definitely consider them in one of them. The more lineups you make, the more you're going to get to them. But for me, this is a Calgary 2 game. Backstrom, Mangiapane, Coleman. Going to get Jamie Benz taking Gurionov. Not a very good defensive line. Calgary 2 has been very, very good. Their prices haven't moved from the mid 3s. I don't know, I'm not complaining, but so for me, Mangiapane back and Coleman, you don't have to full stack. You can full stack. You can take 2 of the 3. You can one off one of the guys. But that's where I want to attack this game in 1 to 3, Calgary 2. Both top lines in MME. I guess if you want to have a little Dallas 2 in MME, I think that's fine as well. But, I guess like Ben Safe and Gurionov, they were on the winning lineup the other night. They just went nuts. But I don't know. Feels like I'd be chasing if I would consider them in 1 to 3. So Calgary 2 in 1 to 3, though.
Yeah, I agree with you, Calgary 2. Wrote up Michael Backlund in the Power Plays article this morning. They're generating over 3 expected goals per 60 minutes at 5-on-5. It's just that shooting percentage hasn't come around. Not like Blake Coleman's a great high percentage shooter, but Backlund's typically not. Well, he's been worse as his career's gone on, I guess. But Mangiapane is definitely not a low percentage shooter. So hopefully they can bring that around. Calgary for two for me in this game in my 1 to 3. If I was 20 maxing, both top lines would absolutely be in consideration. It's just the ownership on them, right? You see 3% on Calgary 1, like 2% on Dallas 1, or 1% even. You just need 5 to 10% to get way over the field, right? So 20 max 150, absolutely. You can consider them in your 1 to 3s. I don't think I'll be playing them though. On the blue line, I noticed Noah Hannafin has really picked up his peripherals as late. Not super expensive. Is he my new Oliver Shillington? I guess we're going to find out, but don't mind Hannafin. Anybody else?
Hannafin or Tanev if you're punting. Miro Heiskanen at under 5K, I think is fine as a one-off if you're in that mid-range. But other than that, like Klingberg if you want to correlate, but nothing super exciting on the Dallas side.
All right. Just want to remind everybody, we do have a bunch of shows coming up right after us. We have the Yahoo NBA live show with McCarthy and Lamarca next, and then the No House Advantage NBA strategy show with Aton and Terry, and then your NBA double dose starts at 5 p.m. Eastern. That's NBA and NFL all coming up a little bit later, I believe. Or no, NFL was earlier today. It's just NBA for the rest of the day. Arizona 2.2 implied goal total going into Colorado. The Avs have a 4.3 implied goal total. One thing I noticed, Colorado won without Nathan McKinnon, 60% shot share, almost 60% of the scoring chances. They're absolutely rolling. Second line looks good too. I mean, not a surprise. It is Arizona. What do you like here, Josh?
Yeah, Kadri more expensive than Mikko. It's kind of silly, but Kadri has had an excellent season. For me, this is Colorado 1. You want to include Nichushkin, you want to leave him off, that's fine. If you're going to leave him off, I would suggest adding in a D-man like Taze. If you can't fit Makar or Girard, you know what I mean? For Girard makes more sense for the power play. Taze is a good one-off. You want to go to Colorado 2, that's fine as well. I think, that line's going to be better with Burakovsky there. But for me, this is a Colorado 1 game. On the Arizona side, there just, isn't too much there. If anything, maybe, Keller, Boyd, but probably nothing I'm going to get to in 1 to 3, maybe nothing in 20 max. After 20 lineups, maybe I'll start including them.
Yeah, Arizona 1, it's not crazy high ownership, but they are coming in a little bit over leveraged. I think they're fine in 20 max or bigger. I'm not going to be playing in my 1 to 3. I do like Colorado 2 here. With Johan Larsson out, there's nothing here to worry about for depth matchups. I think Colorado 2 could just run all over them. So Colorado 2 for me in this game. Wrote up Cale Makar on the blue line with Arizona's terrible penalty kill. I think Makar makes a lot of sense. There's a one-off here tonight if you don't want a full stack Colorado. What do you think?
Yep, Makar. For the really expensive, you want more power play correlation, go Girard. Although he doesn't really do too much. Devin Taze is a nice one-off as well. On the Arizona side, there just isn't much there outside of, correlating ghosts in your Arizona stuff in MME.
Yeah. Yeah. I might not even do that.
Yeah, I probably wouldn't.
Buffalo 2.1 implied goal total is our last game. They're going into Vegas. Golden Knights have a 3.9 implied goal total. Nolan Patrick still on the top line for Vegas. I wrote up the Vegas second line in my Power Plays article. They're coming in basically bang on their ownership. So I'm going to stick with Vegas 2 here. They're going to get the depth matchups from Buffalo. I think they can do some damage. I like Vegas 2 in this game. What do you like?
Yeah, same. They're coming in way lower on that top line. It makes sense because the top line is fully correlated on the power play. Nolan Patrick, 2,600, whatever. You want to play 2,600 Nolan Patrick on the top power play, go for it. I'm not a huge Nolan Patrick guy, but, Stone is underpriced. Pacioretty is about where it needs to be, so you can do that. There is a massive house on Narrative Street with Alex Tuck returning to Vegas for the first time. If you want to, if you like parking on Narrative Street, Alex Tuck is your guy.
Yeah, just want to mention Nick Hague could be back for Vegas tonight. That could change a little bit of their defensive lineups, but obviously they still have a bunch of guys out. We'll have to see what happens a little bit later in the day with Vegas. Josh, I'm going to ask you for your hat trick picks and your goalies. My hat trick pick for tonight, he's expensive, but I love him. Kyle Connor. My goalies are UC Saros, Andrei Vasilevsky, and Anton Forsberg. Who you got?
Yeah, I agree on the goalies. I'll add in what the heck was it? Oh, my guy, Igor. You want to get a little bit punty. I think Anton Forsberg makes for an interesting GPP punt. And then my hat trick pick is going to be Jonathan Marchessault.
There you go. Marchessault and Kyle Connor are your hat trick picks. We got to get out of here. That was our second to last show before the All-Star break. Our last show is tomorrow. Then we're going to be off for a few days. So if you want to check out the NHL show for the last time and for at least 5 days, check us out tomorrow. Stick around. We have more shows coming up. For Josh, for Tyler, I'm Mike saying good luck tonight, everybody.